So log into my accounting lab. We'll go to assignments, do homework, make sure it's showing chapter 1, and then we're going to do this problem. 141, we're going to record transactions in the accounting grid. And make sure you click on the book static. As always, we'll be doing the book static one in these video demonstrations. So Meg McKinney opened a public relations firm called Solid Gold on August 1st. The following amounts summarize her business on August 31st. So these are the balances of her accounts at the end of August. Now, as you can see, they've already placed these amounts up here in the accounting grid, so we really don't need this window. During September 2024, the business completed the following transactions. So here's our list of transactions that we get to put into the accounting grid. Now, when you do these homework problems, always read all this stuff here. So it says analyze events chronologically, which just means you go in order by date, and A, B, C, D, that's the date order. One transaction at a time. So in other words, this letter A means you're going to put transaction A, which is down here, on that row. It says beginning with transaction A, calculate the balance in each account after analyzing. So just like we did in the video, enter the transaction in the transaction row and then calculate the balances in the balance row. Complete only the necessary answer boxes for your transaction lines. It says do not enter any zeros for your transaction lines. So let's say on this first transaction, let's say rent expense is not affected. So don't put a 0 in rent expense. For some reason, they will deduct points from you, even though it doesn't really change anything. Then it says carry down all balances on the BAL line, including 0 balance accounts. So this is kind of weird. I really don't like this about this type of problem in my accounting lab. So they're saying, for instance, on the transaction row, if rent expense is not affected, don't put a 0. However, for some reason on the balance row, they do want you to enter zeros. It doesn't make sense, but anyway, we have to live with that. It says enter a decrease in an account with a minus sign or parentheses. I highly recommend you do a minus sign instead of parentheses. A minus sign takes 1 keystroke. Parentheses takes 4 keystrokes. Shift open parentheses, shift close parentheses. So you're more likely to make a mistake with the parentheses. Abbreviations used. So here's what's going on. AR, hopefully you know what AR is. It's accounts receivable. Office SUP, that's office supplies. Land AP is accounts payable. CAP stands for capital. Of course, that's the equity account. WITHDR is withdrawals. Also known as draws. Service rev is revenue, rent, expense. EXP is expense, and ADV is advertisement expense. So let's do transaction A. Meg McKinney contributed $17,000 in cash in exchange for capital. So notice this is transaction A. So on this A row right here, the transaction row, that's where we had to put this. So let's start with the account that's probably most easily figured out, cash. So which way is cash going? In this case, cash is affected and it's going up. So we're going to put 17,000. Now, I'm usually not going to put the comma in there like this, but you can put the comma in there. It's optional. It helps. Sometimes it helps students to read it. But the reason I usually say don't put it in there unless it really helps you to read it is because it's just one more keystroke and it's one more chance to make an error. For example, when I'm doing these homework demonstrations, if I ever put a comma in there, you'll probably see me screw up and put a decimal in there instead. All right. So it says Meg McKinney contributed $17,000 cash in exchange for capital. I don't like this wording, in exchange for capital. This is an owner investment, also called an owner contribution. So what is the other account that's affected when the owner invests in the company? Well, this person's capital, I guess it's Meg, her capital is going to go up. So I'm going to just copy and paste the 17,000. Oops, that didn't work out. What the heck? Oh, wow. Okay, 17,000. There we go. So we got 17,000 on the left side and we got 17,000 on the right side. So everything balances. Her capital went up because she owns the cash that was invested in the company. So now we need to calculate our balances. So we've got 18,900. Now, getting back to the transaction row, notice I did not put a 0 on the transaction row because that's what it says. Do not enter any zeros for your transactions lines. However, for the balance line or balance row, it says carry down all balances to the balance line, including zeros. So in other words, for this office supplies, I had to put a 0. Now notice you can copy and paste. Just be careful. So land, our balance is 15,000. AP accounts payable 5,000. So 11,900 plus 17,000 gives us 28,900. Withdraws, put a 0 in there. Copy and paste the service revenue, 0. I'm going to hit tab. It takes me to the next field, 0. All right. So now I can check my answer. Good job. Next transaction. Now what I like to do with this window is I like to block off the row that I'm not working on. So make sure that I enter it on the correct row. Performed service for a client and received cash. Cha-ching, we've got some cash. So cash is going up, 800. Now why did we get this cash? Well, we performed a service. So what account is always affected whenever you sell a service or a product? It's revenue. And do we have more revenue or less revenue? Well, we have more. So we're going to put a positive 800. So on this transaction line, we got 800 on the left side and 800 on the right side. Now we can do our balances. So to do the balance for cash, we're going to take 18,900 plus 800 gives us 19,700. We've got 3,200 AR. We added nothing, so it's still 3,200. 0 office supplies. Land, 15,000 plus 0 is 15,000. Accounts payable, 5,000 plus 0 is 5,000. Capital, 28,000 plus 0 is 28,900. 0. All right, so now we had service revenue of 3,200. We add 800 gives us 4,000. And then we got 0 and then 0. Check our answer. Good job. Transaction C, paid. So our cash is going down. Paid off the beginning balance of AP. So let's find out how much AP is. So here's the beginning balance of AP, $5,000. So we had $5,000 that we owe. We paid it off. So what happens to this liability when we pay it off? Do we still have that liability? No. So we have to make it go down by the amount we paid. So it will have, if you wanted to, you could do the balance of 0 now. So how did we pay off this liability? Well, how do we pay for things? With cash. So cash is going to go down, and then our accounts payable, our debt, also goes down. So notice on the left side we've got minus 5,000. On the right side we've got minus 5,000. So everything balances. So our new balance of cash is 19,700 minus 5,000 gives us 14,700. I'm going to tab on the keyboard. If you hit tab, it takes you to the next field. We still have $3,200 of AR. Still no office supplies. $15,000 of land. I've already got a 0 in there for accounts payable. Capital, 28,900. 0, 4,000, 0, 0. All right, that looks good. Excellent. All right, transaction D. Let me move this up so we can see things better. Transaction D, purchased office supplies from Office Max on account. So what does this on account mean? Does that mean we're paying for it now? No. It means we promise to pay later. So we're buying office supplies and we promise to pay later. So in this transaction, I like to start with office supplies because it's the easiest one for students to understand. Which way are office supplies going if we purchase them? Office supplies are going up by 1,200. Let's see if I can copy and paste that. No, I can't. So office supplies, positive 1,200. And then did we pay cash? No, it says we bought on account. So that means we are promising to pay later, which means we have to increase our accounts payable because we now have debt. So notice on the left side we have positive 1,200. On the right side we have positive 1,200. So that balances. Now we figure out our new balances. 14,000 plus 0. 14,700 plus 0 is 14,700. 3,200 plus 0 is 3,200. Now we have $1,200 of office supplies. 15,000 plus 0 is 15,000. We have $1,200 of debt now. Still have 28,900 of capital. 0, 4,000, 0, 0. All right. Excellent again. We're on a roll. Transaction E, collected cash from a customer on account for $2,000. So let's start with the account that's easiest to understand in this one, cash. So if we collected cash, which way is cash going? Up. So we go plus $2,000. Now, why did we collect cash? It says we collected cash from a customer on account. So this means prior to this time, this customer had purchased something from us on account. So at that time, we had increased accounts receivable by 2,000. Now that person is paying off their accounts receivable, so we have to lower accounts receivable minus 2,000 because they no longer owe us that amount. Okay, so now we have to double check that the accounting equation is, or make sure it balances. So on the left side we have positive 2,000 minus 2,000. So on the left side we have 0. On the right side we have 0. So everything balances. Now I need to come up with my new balance. So 14,700 plus 2,000, 16,700. 3,200 minus 2,000 gives us what? 1,200. Office supplies, coincidentally, we also have 1,200. Land, we've got 15,000. Accounts payable, we've got 1,200. 28,900 capital. Draws are 0. 4,000, 0, 0. Now we can check our answer. How do you like your steak? Done? Well done. Actually, not really. All right. Transaction F, McKinney. Well, who's McKinney? Up here at the very top, you can't see it on my screen. It says Meg McKinney opened the public relations firm. So that makes sense. So Meg McKinney is the owner. She withdrew $1,600. So let's start with the account that's easiest to understand in this transaction, cash. Which way is cash going if she withdrew it? Minus $1,600. It's going down. And because, it tells you what the other account is. It's withdrawals. So we under withdrawals. Now notice withdrawals, this is important. We've got a minus sign in there in front of it already. Because why? Because withdrawals lower equity. Just like expenses, these two expenses also lower equity. That's why they have a minus sign down the whole grid. So do not put a minus 2,000 in here because the minus sign is already there. Oh, it wasn't 1,600. So double check. On the left side, do we have this? What do we have on the left side? Minus 1,600. On the right side, we have minus, notice the negative sign, 1,600. So it balances. Now we have to figure out our balances totals. So 16,700 of cash. We took out 1,600. Our new balance is 15,100. Accounts receivable has not changed. Neither has office supplies. Neither has land. By the way, how much land do they have if it's only worth $15,000? What do they own? Like a 3 square feet. So accounts payable is not changed. Capital is not changed. We now have 1,600 in withdrawals, 4,000 in revenue, 0, 0. Check our answer. Excellent. Transaction G. Can't show it at the same time. So transaction G, it says consulted for a new band. That's a new customer. So what these do, apparently we do this business does PR, which stands for public relations, for musical groups. So they consulted a new band. So this is a customer. They consulted for a new customer and billed the client and customer the same thing, for services rendered. So this rendered is just a fancy word for saying provided. So Meg, the owner, consulted for a new band and billed the band for services provided, $4,500. Now, read this carefully. Does it say that the customer paid Meg? No. It just says that she billed them. So they have not paid us, so we cannot record cash. So if we sell something, we're either going to get cash or we're going to record accounts receivable. So we have to put this under accounts receivable. And then why did we all of a sudden get this accounts receivable? Because we performed a service, which means under service revenue, you also need to put positive 4,500. So on the left side, we have positive 4,500. On the right side, we have positive 4,500. Now we can do our balances. So $15,000 of cash plus 0 is 15,100. Let's see, 1,200 plus 4,500 gives us what? 5,700. And then we've got 1,200 plus 0 is 1,200, 15,000, 1,200, 20,900, 1,600. So 4,000 plus 4,500. We now have revenue of 8,500, but no expenses. How unrealistic. No expenses. It'd be nice to have a business with no expenses. Fantastic. And now we have H. For H, for some reason, they combined them into 2 transactions, which I think is weird. Recorded the following business expenses for the month. So because it says it's a business expense, it's an expense, not a withdrawal. And notice on H1, it says paid office rent. So anytime it says paid, that means we are paying and our cash is going down. So under H1, we put minus 1,000. And why do we pay 1,000? It's for rent expense. Now, should I put a minus 1,000 over here for rent expense? Because notice cash is a minus 1,000. Don't forget, there's a minus sign right here. So this minus sign is good enough. Whatever you do, don't go like this. If you do that, then my accounting lab will give you an error. So I put a 1,000 there. We got the minus sign in front of it. All right, so on the left side, we've got minus 1,000. On the right side, we have minus 1,000, so everything balances. Now, we're not going to do balances yet. It says we paid advertising. So since we paid, cash is going down by 500. And why did we pay? It's for advertising expense. So should I put minus 500 like this? No, because notice we've got a minus sign there, so I got to get rid of the minus sign. There we go. On the left side, we have minus 500. On the right side, we have minus 500. Everything balances. We're done with that box. So now our math gets a little more complicated. We take the last balance, we subtract 1,000, subtract 500 more, and we get a final balance of 13,600. This time I will put the comma in there just so it's easier for you to read. AR, 57 plus 0 is 57. Office supplies, 1,200 plus 1,200 equals 1,200. 1,200 plus 0 is 1,200. Land, 15,000 plus 0 is 15,000. 1,200 plus 0 is 1,200. Are you tired of me talking yet? 28,000 plus 0 is 28,900. Hopefully you get the gist of things now. So for rent expense, we had 0, and then there we have 1,000. So bring the 1,000 down. Notice there's already a minus sign there. 0, 0 on 500. Copy, paste, gives us 500. All right. We're not done yet. Not done with the teaching yet. Let's see. Does this company have a profit? Well, what's the formula for profit? Also called net income. Now, the book always calls it net income. It never calls it profit. But in the real world, small companies usually call it profit. All right. So the formula for net income is revenue, right here, 8,500, minus your 2 expenses. So 8,500 minus 500 gives us 8,000 minus 1,000. So she's got a profit or a net income of $7,000. And finally, I like to look at the debt of this company. How much debt do they have? 1,200. How does that compare to their cash? Oh, they got plenty of cash to pay their liabilities. So this company is in really good financial situation. And that's it.